Good morning students and welcome to the physical chemistry lecture of paper 5. For last lecture we have seen the problems on calculation of transport number by Hittorf's method as well as determination of transport number by moving boundary method. And in this chapter, you have learned what is electrolytic conductance, what is the conductors, then what is the equivalent conductance, molar conductance, specific conductance, how they vary with concentration or variation of conductance at infinite dilution. Then you have learned the Corlash law, and Corlash law states that independent migration of ions, the sum of ionic conductivity at infinite dilution of cation and ionic conductivity at infinite dilution of anion, it is equal to the equivalent conductance or molar conductance at infinite dilution in case of weak electrolytes. This is the statement of Corlash law. You have learned this. Then we have seen the few applications of Corlash law. That means in the determination of transport number, ionic mobility and speed ratio. Then in the calculation of ionic product of water, then hydrolysis constant, determination of solubility of sparingly soluble salts, etc. You have learned this. Then the next point you have studied, that is conductometric titrations, and for your study there are only acid base titrations, and in that acid base titrations you have studied strong acid strong base titration. That means titration of strong acid versus strong base, then the titration of weak acid versus strong base, then the titration of strong acid, weak base and both weak, that means weak acid and weak base, and the nature of the graph. That means if we plot the graph of conductance versus volume of alkali added, what is the nature of the graph for these four types of titrations that you have learned, as well as you know the principle of the conductometric titration, and it is that the conductance of solution, it depends on the number of ions present in the solution and the mobility or speed of the ion that you have studied. Then you have learned in a detail what is the transport number, what is the migration of ions, then determination of transport number. For your study there are two methods for the determination of transport number. The first method that you have studied, it is the moving boundary method, and in this method you have studied principle of the method and experimental setup of the method, then calculation of transport number by using the moving boundary method. Then you have studied the Hittorf's method for the determination of transport number. Again, in that method you have studied the schematic representation of Ostwald's electrolytic cell, and it consists of positive and negative electrode. They are separated by a diaphragms, and the diaphragms are small letter A and small letter B. Due to these two diaphragms, the electrolytic cell, it get divided into three compartments as anode compartment, middle compartment and cathode compartment. And you have seen the three cases and you learn that the concentration at the anode compartment and cathode compartment decreases, and the important assumption made by the Hitov it is that the discharged ions, they do not react with the material of the electrodes, and due to this the decrease in concentration takes place. Then if we take silver electrodes, that means silver as a anode and a silver as a cathode, then uh, instead of decrease in concentration, the concentration at anode compartment it increases, because here the solution containing Ag plus ion and NO3 minus ion, every NO3 minus ion it migrated towards the positive electrode, it picks up one Ag plus ion and there is a deposition of AgNO3 takes place, and due to this the concentration at anode compartment increases. Up, you have studied this. Then some problems depending on the formulas that are involved in this chapter. Last time we have seen this chapter. I will repeat this once again. I will read the problem first. After the electrolysis of zero point 0.1 normal HCl solution in Hitov cell, the concentration of electrolytes in anode and cathode compartments were found to be 0.02 normal and 0.08 normal respectively. Calculate the transport numbers of the ions, that means transport number of H plus and Cl minus ion you have to calculate. For the solution of this problem, formula used it is this: fall in concentration around cathode divided by fall in concentration around anode upon fall in concentration around cathode, it is equal to speed of positive ion divided by speed of negative ion, and this is the mathematical expression of Hittov's law. And you know that the fall in concentration around anode it is proportional to speed of the anion, and fall in concentration around cathode it is proportional to speed of cation. Therefore, we can write U plus it is the speed of positive ion, U minus speed of negative ion, it is equal to T plus upon T minus, where T plus transport number of cation, that is positive ion, transport number of anion, and simply here this T minus it is written in this form as a 1 minus T plus, because T plus T minus it is equal to 1, so that we have replaced this T minus as 1 minus T plus. Then we have given the concentration around cathode it is equal to 0.8 normal, and around concentration around cathode it is equal to 0.2 normal, not 2 normal, and around anode it is 0.8. So substituting these values we have 0.08 upon 0.02 it is equal to U plus upon U minus, and it becomes equal to 4. That means this T plus upon 1 minus T plus it is equal to 4. Therefore, by using this equation we can write T plus it is equal to 4 into 1 minus T plus, and it is equal to 4 minus 4T plus, and it is equal to here T plus plus 4T plus it is equal to 4, that is 5T plus equal to 4, and therefore the transport number of H plus ion, it is equal to 4 by 5. It is equal to 0.8, and subtracting this value of transport number of H plus ion from 1, we get the transport number of Cl minus ion, and that is equal to 0.2. This is the first problem. Then the second problem here, equivalent conductivity of NaNO3 at infinite dilution is 105.2 ohm inverse centimeter square. Ionic conductance of Na plus ion in the same solution is 43.5 ohm inverse centimeter square. Calculate the transport number of sodium and nitrate ions in the solution. And the formula used here, lambda 0 plus upon lambda 0. That means ionic conductivity of cation at infinite dilution divided by the total ionic conductivity of the electrolyte, and this ratio, it gives the transport number of positive ion at infinite dilution. That is, the transport number of Na plus ion, it is equal to ionic conductivity of Na plus ion divided by the ionic conductivity of this electrolyte, that is NaNO3, and these two values are given. By substituting these values and taking the ratio, we get the transport number of Na plus ion, it is equal to 4.4135, and subtracting this value from 1, we get the transport number of NO3 minus ion, and it is equal to 0.5865. We have seen these two examples in the last lecture, and now we see another example. Here you have given problem as 0.5 normal solution of a dibasic acid surrounding two platinum electrodes apart from 2.3 centimeter, and the area of cross section here it is 4.6 square centimeter, and the resistance offered here, it is equal to 25 ohms at 30 degree centigrade. Calculate specific, equivalent and molar conductivities of the solution. Here I will tell you once again the given quantities. Here the two platinum electrodes, they are separated from each other by the distance, that means L, it is equal to 2.3 centimeter, and the area of cross section here it is 4.6 square centimeter, and the resistance offered for the passage of electricity, it is given, and it is equal to 25 ohms, and they have asked to calculate specific, equivalent and molar conductivities. Here, we have the formula for resistance. Resistance R, it is equal to here rho into L by A, where rho, it is a specific resistance, and L, it is a distance of separation, A, it is a cross section. Then by putting the given quantities in this formula, that means 25, it is equal to rho into 2.3 divided by 4.6, and it becomes equal to 50 ohm centimeter square, and this is the unit of the specific resistance. Once here we have calculated the specific resistance value by taking the ratio of specific reciprocal of specific resistance, we can calculate the specific conductance, and 1 by 50 it becomes equal to 0.02 ohm inverse centimeter inverse. This is the specific conductance, and in SI unit, when we convert this value of CGS into SI, we have to divide this value by 10 raised to minus 2. That means 0.02 upon 10 raised to minus 2, it is equal to 2 into Siemens into meter square. This is the specific conductance in SI unit. Then how to calculate the equivalent conductance. Here we have the formula lambda phi. It is equal to specific conductance into 1000 divided by normality, and we know all these values. Here normality it is given, and that is the 0.5. Substituting these values, and solving this, we get 40 ohm inverse into centimeter square into equivalent inverse. And for the SI unit, this value 40, it is divided by 10 raised to 4, because here the ohm inverse centimeter inverse into equivalent inverse, it is 10 raised to 4 times in the SI unit. Therefore, here 40 into 10 raised to minus 4. Here it is in the denominator. So, in the numerator, it is with negative sign. Therefore, we have it is equal to 4 into 10 raised to minus 3, and the unit, SI unit of equivalent conductance, it is equal to Siemens meter square into equivalent inverse. This is the value of lambda phi. That means equivalent conductance at feed dilution. And similarly, we can calculate the molar conductance by using the formula. Here simply normality, it is replaced by molarity in the calculation of molar conductance. Here kappa, it is specific conductance into 1000 divided by molarity. And remember that for dibasic acid, the given acid is dibasic, so the normality it is divided by 2, and we get here value 0.25, and the solution of this, it gives 80. That means molar conductance, it is equal to 80 ohm inverse centimeter square into mole inverse, and by converting this into SI unit, it becomes equal to, by the same method, 80 divided by 10 raised to 4, that means 8 into 10 raised to minus 3, and the unit Siemens meter square into mole inverse. This is the expected answer. Then see the next problem. Calculate equivalent conductivity at infinite dilution of acetic acid at 298 Kelvin. Given molar conductivities at infinite dilution at the same temperature of HCl, sodium acetate and NaCl, and these values are given. For sodium acetate, the value is 0.426. For HCl, the value is 0.0091, and for NaCl, this value is 0.01265. Then, to solve this problem, we have to use the Cole-Lash law, and you know that according to Cole-Lash law, the lambda infinity of acetic acid, it is equal to lambda 0 H plus lambda 0 CH3 COO minus. And from the given data, we can write the equation for lambda infinity of CH3 CONA, that is the here lambda 0 of CH3COO minus plus lambda 0 of Na plus, and it is equal to this given value. Then lambda infinity of HCl, it is equal to lambda 0 of H plus lambda 0 of Cl minus, and it is equal to 0.4261. And for NaCl, lambda infinity, it is equal to lambda 0 Na plus lambda 0 Cl minus. Let it is our first equation, this one second, and this one third equation. And adding equation number 1 and 2 and subtracting equation number 3, we get the lambda infinity of CH3COOH. And similarly, the molar conductance values are also added from equation number 1 and 2, and the subtracting the molar conductivity value of equation number 3, we get 0.03906, and this is the unit Siemens meter square into mole inverse, and this is the important application of Correlash law for the calculation of equivalent conductance or molar conductance at infinite dilution of weak electrolyte. And you have learned in the application of Correlash law how to determine the equivalent and molar conductivity at infinite dilution. Here we have simply used by knowing the molar conductivities at infinite dilution of certain strong electrolytes and adding some and subtracting some values, some proper values, we can get the equivalent conductance or molar conductance at infinite dilution of weak electrolyte. Remember well. And then the next problem here, the specific conductivity of pure water was found to be 5.54 into 10 raised to minus 5 Siemens centimeter square at 298 Kelvin. The ionic conductance of H plus and OH minus ions at the same temperature are given, and that is the 349.8 Siemens and 198.5 Siemens respectively. Calculate the ionic product of water. You know, alpha, it is equal to lambda phi upon lambda 0, and Kw, that means ionic product, it is equal to product of concentration of H plus ion into concentration of OH minus ion. And lambda phi, that means equivalent conductance they have given, and that is the here 5.54 into 10 raised to minus 8 into 10 raised to 3, and it is equal to 5.54 into 10 raised to minus 5 they have given. So the lambda 0 of H2O, that means equivalent conductance of H2O, it is equal to ionic conductivity of H plus plus ionic conductivity of OH minus, and this value they have given, and this is the 349.8 plus 198.5, and summing these two values we can get the 548.3 Siemens. Therefore, we can calculate the degree of dissociation by putting these values, and simplifying this we get 1.0104 into 10 raised to 7. Similarly, the same value we have in case of OH minus ion. Therefore, substituting these two values we get Kw, and the product of these two values, it is equal to 1.021 into 10 raised to minus 14. This is the calculation of ionic product of water. Then see I mean, this much problems are not sufficient. The remaining problems you may solve at your own and get understand properly. Then let us start with the second unit, and the name of that second unit, it is the physical properties of liquids. You know, matter exists in three states as solid, liquid and gases, and due to differences in van der Waals forces, the solids have definite shape and definite size, sharp melting points and proper physical and chemical properties. Similarly, in case of liquids, the van der Waals forces are least as compared to the solids, but they have also the follow. They do not have definite shape, but they have particular follow. They have particular boiling points and particular physical and chemical properties. But in case of gases, the van der Waals forces are least one, and gases gas molecules are always random in motion. They occupy the whole space that they have available for their motion. And in this chapter, our focus is to study the physical properties of liquids. All of you know there are two types of properties, physical properties and chemical properties. And the physical properties are the properties that are studied without change in chemical nature as well as without change in the structure of the compound. These properties are mainly the density, melting point, boiling point, viscosity, etc. We can study all these properties without any kind of chemical change in the compounds. And you know, the physical properties are grouped into four classes, and that four classes are additive properties, additive and constitutive properties, purely constitutive properties and colligative properties. And in this chapter you will learn the what is viscosity, how it is determined, and this is the physical property of the liquids. Then the second physical property that you will learn, that is the surface tension, how it is determined. Then what is paracore and optical exaltation. These are the some properties including the refractive index, Snell's law, etc. We will see later on. Thank you. Study well and get understand the whole physical chemistry. If you have any type of problem, any type of questions, you are free to ask me. Thank you once again.